ICPC is a government body statutorily established to fight against corruption. Now, there should be no fear in terms of submitting your petition. Sometimes you may decide not to write your name. Yes, you may decide. And professionally, ethically speaking now, we are not allowed to disclose the author of those kind of petitions at all.
A petition is a formal written request submitted to an authority for judicial action. Petitions are indispensable to the work of ICPC. The bulk of cases treated by ICPC begin with petitions submitted by well-meaning individuals. Hello and welcome to Transparency Files, ICPC's weekly enlightenment program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Today on the program, we shall be looking at how you can be a part of the crusade against corruption by reporting corrupt practices happening around you to the Commission. To guide us in this discussion is the Director, Special Services Department, Prince Hassan Mohammed FSI, and Mr. Golden Iwagu, Assistant Director, Legal Services, both of ICPC, who will share their thoughts on the subject matter. Also in this edition, we shall bring you an interesting character molding skit, reports from ICPC state offices, and other exciting segments. First, let us join Ruth Awodi with anti-corruption highlights. It's over to you, Ruth.
Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Ruth Awodi. A Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Apo, Abuja, has ordered the remand of an officer of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Mr. Jibrin Buba, at the custody of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Kuje, after failing to appear for trial in the forgery allegations leveled against him by ICPC. Mr. Buba is standing trial for alleged offenses bordering on forgery and making a false statement to a public officer. According to ICPC, Buba in February 2015 fraudulently presented a forged Bachelor of Science (BSc) degree certificate in public administration dated October 7, 2009, which was purportedly issued by the University of Jos to secure employment with NSCDC. The use of a forged document as genuine contravenes Section 366 of the Penal Code and is punishable under Section 364. The accused was initially arraigned in 2022 before Honorable Justice Asmao Akambi at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Kubwa and was admitted to bail on liberal terms. However, following Justice Akambi's elevation to the Court of Appeal, the case was reassigned for trial de novo to Justice Binta Dogoyaro of FCT High Court 46 Apo. The court had previously fixed 22nd January 2025 for arraignment, but Buba reportedly failed to appear despite receiving due notice along with his legal counsel. His continued absence, even after the matter was further adjourned, prompted the issuance of a bench of warrant for his arrest. He was eventually apprehended and arraigned on 26 June 2025. During the proceeding, the court revoked Mr. Buba's earlier bail and ordered that he be remanded at the Nigerian Correctional Service facility in Kuje. The matter has been adjourned for hearing. In another development, ICPC has re-emphasized the urgent need for full implementation of the model sexual harassment prevention policy in Nigerian tertiary institutions, stressing that the policy must go beyond paper and be translated into full implementation. This renewed charge was a central message at a one-day stakeholders engagement co-hosted by ICPC with Gender Mobile Initiative and the FCT Education Secretariat, which took place at the ICPC headquarters recently. The event forms part of activities targeted at driving state-level adoption of the model anti-sexual harassment policy. Delivering his special remarks, the Honorable Chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, who was represented by the Secretary to the Commission, Mr. Clifford Okudiri Okbarodu, DSSRS, welcomed participants and reiterated the Commission's commitment to fighting corruption in all forms, including abuse of office through sexual harassment in educational institutions.
It is important to note that the idea behind the development of the model policy is not based on the assumption that Nigerian tertiary institutions do not have their individual sexual harassment prevention policies. No. Rather, it is a call to all institutions which do have policies to review such policies vis-à-vis the model policy to ensure that their policies comply with international best practices, while at the same time encouraging those ones which do not have to develop theirs and not be left out in the campaign against sexual and gender-based violence in tertiary institutions.
Present at the event to deliver a welcome address was the FCT Mandate Secretary for Education, Dr. Danlami Hayo, who commended ICPC in partnership with the Gender Mobile Initiative and other stakeholders who worked hard to bring the model policy to life in all institutions.
Let us therefore reaffirm our collective commitment to providing a safe, respectable, and inclusive environment for every member of our academic community. The educational institution must implement a zero-tolerance policy towards sexual harassment, treat all allegations seriously, conduct prompt and fair investigations, and take disciplinary action where necessary, including dismissal.
A keynote address was delivered by the spokesperson, Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Akintunde Rotimi, who was represented by Mr. Temidayo Taiwo Sadiq. Gender Mobile Initiative was established in October 2017 to complement the programs and policy efforts of the government in advancing intersectional gender equality and eliminating all forms of sexual and gender-based violence, which undermines women's potential, agency, and freedom. The Gender Mobile has found a dependable ally in ICPC, being an agency of government that has continued to effectively deploy its mandate to tackle sexual harassment offenses. That will be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Murna. Stay with us.
What's the matter? Since we got here, you have barely completed a page now. If I'm being honest, this has been the trend for a while now. Talk to me, you know I'll listen.
There's really no issue. You don't have to bother yourself. It's just normal guy troubles.
Ebube, since when do you not share your guy troubles with me?
Fati, it's just really embarrassing to talk about.
At this point in our lives, what can there be to be embarrassed about? Tell me now, tell me. Be serious, tell me now.
Alright, I'll tell you. But you have to promise me not to say anything, even to your siblings. Fati, promise me.
I promise. Now talk.
Miss Aderonke, the GST lecturer, has been sending me inappropriate text messages and pictures. I thought it was an error, but she asked me yesterday why I'm ignoring her.
How could you have kept this for 3 weeks? Ebube, we need to do something and we need to do it fast.
That's the problem, Fati. She threatened to fail me if I refused to see her or tell anyone.
Go to her and beg her. Tell her that you cannot do what she's asking because obviously you can't.
You think I haven't done that?
Guy, calm down now. You will record your conversation on the phone and we'll take it to the ICPC office in town. They will know what to do.
Oh my goodness, Fati. You really are a genius.
This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission.
If you're just joining us, this is Transparency Files. Section 6A of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 empowers the Commission to receive and investigate any report of conspiracy to commit, attempt to commit, or commission of such offense and, in appropriate cases, to prosecute offenders. These reports often come in as petitions. The enabling law of the Commission encourages people to send petitions to the Commission in order to kickstart investigations. The law even makes provision of people who are illiterate in English language. How can one send in petition? And is there any provision for the protection for informants? To answer these questions and more, I had a chat with Prince Hassan Mohammed. Let's take a listen. The topic before us is we're looking at how Nigerians can be a part of the fight against corruption by reporting acts of corruption that happens around them. How do I go about it as a Nigerian, as a layman? How do I report such acts of corruption to the ICPC?
Now, basically, there are two ways that you can report cases of corruption to the ICPC. One, you can send it via the official email of the ICPC. You may also write to the chairman, address to the chairman, and then submit it at the office. There's an office for that purpose at the gate where petitions are dropped. Now, sometimes may want to ask, assuming the person is not literate. By illiterate, somebody who doesn't know how to read or write. But if that is the case, he reports to the commission. Whatever his complaints are is taken down in writing. Section 27(2) of the ICPC Act has made it clear that in the event that somebody is unable to write, it is reduced to writing, and then he signs if he can sign. If not, we stamp it and then forward it to the petitions registry. In case where you have those evidences, you attach it to the petition. But even if you don't have, it then becomes our duty as ICPC to find out where those documents are in the process of investigation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but sometimes people are scared of writing or reporting such acts of corruption to the ICPC. What message do you have?
No, there is nothing to be scared of. ICPC is a government body statutorily established to fight against corruption. Now, there should be no fear in terms of submitting your petition. Sometimes you may decide not to write your name. Yes, you may decide. And professionally, ethically speaking now, we are not allowed to disclose the author of those kind of petitions at all. In fact, it's forbidden.
You're watching Transparency Files, and now to the opportunity cost of corruption. In economics, opportunity cost of corruption is what you give up when you choose one option over another. So when a government or society allows corruption to thrive, it misses out on what those resources could have achieved. Let's take a listen.
Corruption has levied an immeasurable cost on our nation. Systematically, it has eroded, public trust, stifling economic growth and innovation. Tragically, corruption has cost that the dreams and potentials of our people are no longer feasible. It's nothing people hope for anymore.
Corruption is stealth, it kills, like an evil, Sometimes it's silent, but you don't see it coming, but it robs you of everything. And corruption, sexual harassment is actually corruption, and we know that. There's something called a quid pro quo, which is, I know it's a legal language, but it's just favors for something else. And when it is that you're seeking favors from somebody else because you got power over them, that is corruption.
When we talk about corruption, we think about somebody collecting a bribe, but we do not think about somebody who is paying a bribe for a bad system that is going to affect way more people than we originally projected for. So you're just thinking, let me just pay this man so that he can clear this case for me, or let me just pay this man so that he does not, or pay a government official or a police officer or law enforcement basically, so they do not prosecute a case. But what we do is that we now break down the system of justice. Now other people cannot seek justice. Now we have now monetized what justice is supposed to look like. Or when you pay to skip a queue at maybe even at a hospital, even when we buy things, or even how we talk to other people, right? The cost of that is that we are degrading other people's idea of what is attainable or what is attainable social behavior or societal behavior. What this means is that we're now reinforcing other things in their mind. So it means that you can now pay for the healthcare systems to be faster instead of pushing for better healthcare system that is easily accessible for all.
This is Transparency Files. The opportunity cost of corruption is often invisible but enormous. Every stolen naira could have built something, educated someone, or saved a life. Now back to our previous conversation. It is interesting to note that refusal to report any act of corruption to ICPC also constitutes an offense. In the same vein, inasmuch as it is lawful to make petitions, however, willfully making false petition also constitutes an offense. Let's hear from Mr. Golden Iwagu, Assistant Director, Legal Services. The fight against corruption, we know, is a fight for all. It's something that the Commission cannot do it alone. It's a route we can't go alone. And so we require the cooperation of the public. But does the Commission sometimes receive frivolous petitions? And are there punishments for that?
Well, yes, I would. The Commission, just like you have rightly stated, would need as part of the provisions of Section 6 of the Act, to enlist public support in the fight against corruption. So what we have discovered over the years, the Commission receives petitions. A whole lot of them turn out to be frivolous. Well, frivolity in the sense that you could have them, remember a particular petition where somebody said, Glo deducted 20 naira from him. That is frivolity. There are frivolities in the guise of just hatred. Commission receives a whole lot of it, but there's a vetting process, which eliminates about. You would have that where people just come and give information about, I remember in one instance that there was a large amount of cash, in the premises or the compound of a former governor, one of the states in Nigeria, and the Commission went there and found out that it was all falsehood. So when you make such deliberate falsehood, the Act punishes such acts, such persons under Section 64, sub 3. You can be charged for giving false information. Under our Section 27, it talks about every information has to be reduced into writing, so that gives birth to petitions. But then we also receive anonymous petitions, so you don't really need to put your name, because what the court will look at, assuming you find infractions, is if you are alleged, let's say you use the name of any pseudonym and say, XYZ has done this, money laundering, has conferred corrupt advantage. If the investigation reveal of a fact that this event, allegations took place, the court is not going to look at whether the petition was reported by a known person or not. It is about the evidence, laid before the court that justifies the offense. So we receive anonymous petitions. We even gather intelligence. In fact, under that section 27, the Court of Appeal have said that even if you suspect anything and that